The pocket watch suddenly slips from his hand. He catches it just in time, but the part outside the light field is aging rapidly. The photo of his girlfriend inside the watch is decaying right before his eyes. Even so, the man pushes the lever of the time machine anyway. In an instant, time races forward at an unbelievable speed, while he drifts outside of time itself. He watches days and nights flash by, seasons come and go, and even sees his lab turned into a car factory. The auto industry booms right in front of him. Dresses in shop windows get shorter with each passing era. And out in the world, skyscrapers rise one after another. Airplanes evolve generation after generation. Soon, civilization leaps from the industrial age into the 21st century. By now, humans have left Earth and launched satellites. They've even built colonies on the moon. Seeing all this, David finally stops the time machine, and time comes to rest in the year 2030. Facing this strange futuristic city, David isn't afraid. He isn't lost either, because he's traveled 100 years into the future for one answer. An answer he could never find in his own time. It's Christmas 1895. This is supposed to be the day David proposes to his girlfriend, but a robber suddenly shatters their romantic moment. To keep his girlfriend safe, David hands over all his money without hesitation. What he doesn't notice is that she quietly hides the precious ring behind her back, and that very move enrages the robber. In the struggle, the gun accidentally goes off, and his girlfriend falls, shot. Holding her lifeless body, David simply cannot accept this brutal reality. So from that day on, this man, the most brilliant scientist of his era, buries himself in his laboratory day after day because he wants to do something no one has ever done. Build a time machine, go back in time, and change history. Driven by raw genius and pure obsession, David actually builds a time machine in just 4 years. He puts on the same clothes from the night of his proposal, sets the dial back to that exact moment, then climbs aboard with his girlfriend's photo. Once everything is ready, he pulls the lever without a second thought. The machine roars to life. Its precision gears spin faster and faster until a beam of light bursts out, and incredibly, the hands of the clock actually start turning backwards. When he opens his eyes again, David is back on the very night of his proposal. He embraces his lost love in disbelief. As thrilled as he is, David knows better. The first priority is getting out of this dangerous place. So he takes her hand, hails a carriage, and heads to the busier part of town. He thinks they're safe now, but what David never sees coming is that the moment he turns away to buy flowers, a runaway carriage brings tragedy all over again. But what truly crushes him is discovering that no matter how many times he goes back, his girlfriend always dies in some different accident. That's when David finally realizes he simply cannot change history. Still, he refuses to give up. If going to the past can't save her, then he'll go to the future and find a way to change history there. So David climbs back into the time machine. But unlike traveling to the past, this time protected by the machine's force field, he becomes a silent observer, watching civilization transform at breakneck speed until he finally stops in the year 2030. Searching for knowledge about time travel, David visits a museum a century ahead of his time. There, he meets the museum's AI assistant, and to David's absolute delight, the AI's database is connected to all the data on Earth, which means it holds every piece of knowledge since the dawn of humanity.
Time travel?
Yes.
Accessing science fiction?
No, practical application. My question is, why can't one change the past?
Because one cannot travel into the past.
The AI's words hit David like a bucket of cold water. No matter how he asks, the AI's database holds absolutely nothing about time travel. David figures this era's technology just isn't advanced enough. So he gets back in the time machine, ready to jump another 100 years ahead. But right then, a violent shaking hits, forcing David to shut down the machine. Time stops at the year 2037, and the scene before him leaves David completely stunned. The once thriving futuristic city has become a wasteland of ruins in just 7 years. At that very moment, a few patrolling officers spot David lingering there and move to arrest him on the spot. Confused, David is about to break free when he suddenly notices something jaw-dropping overhead.
That's impossible. What happened?
What, you've been living under a rock?
Yes, I've been living under a rock. Now tell me.
The demolitions for the lunar colony screwed up the orbit, okay? The moon's breaking up, all right? Come on.
It turns out that to build underground leisure spaces on the moon, humans detonated 30 million tons of explosives, shattering the moon itself, and with the moon's gravity gone, volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis strike non-stop. The survivors hide in underground bunkers, barely hanging on. David seizes the chance to break free and runs back to the time machine. But the moment he pulls the lever, an aftershock hits, knocking David off balance and out cold. But the time machine keeps running at full speed. With no one at the controls, time hurtles into the future faster than light itself. In an instant, the world around him becomes a barren apocalypse. Clearly, the moon's destruction has wiped out humanity after all, but time keeps racing on. Centuries, millennia, tens of thousands of years, until hundreds of thousands thousands of years pass, the Earth's crust shifts. Rivers turn into hills. Hills flatten into plains. Then the planet plunges into another ice age. And after all these dramatic changes, life returns to the surface once more, growing wild and free like never before. After who knows how long, David finally regains a sliver of consciousness before passing out again. He uses his last ounce of strength to shut down the machine. And at this moment, time has stopped at the year 802,701. When David wakes up again, he finds himself in an unfamiliar room. The moment he steps outside, he freezes at the sight before him. He's standing on the edge of a sheer cliff. As far as the eye can see, the cliff face is covered with strange wooden dwellings. People travel high above the ground on rope ladders and zip lines. It's a picture of a thriving community. After 800,000 years, humanity not only survived, but rebuilt itself into a tribal civilization. At that moment, a tribal boy notices that David is awake, and soon all the villagers nearby gather around. But with a language barrier, David can't understand a word they're saying. Stranger still, a woman who calls herself Mara actually understands him. She's the one who rescued David and brought him to the tribe.
Tell me quick and tell me the truth. Where do you come from?
Well, actually, I'm from here. Just not from now. You see, I built a machine that allows me to travel through time. I'm from the past.
Oh.
But his mind-blowing story is clearly too much for them to accept. So through Mara's translation, David becomes some poor guy banished from another tribe, who fell off the cliff while squatting to do his business. That instantly puts the villagers' suspicions to rest. When night falls, the cliff dwellings light up like 1,000 lanterns. Staying at Mara's home, David can't help but look up at the sky. The shattered moon still hangs among the stars, and against the glittering night sky, it holds a strange, haunting beauty. It makes David marvel at Earth's incredible power to heal itself. The next day, Mara takes David to some ruins from 800,000 years ago. Her English comes from a wise one who lives inside, but David recognizes the building instantly. This is the museum from the year 2030. Then Mara shows him the tribe's farm, where people harness wind power for their work and production. On the surface, it's a busy, peaceful scene. But right then, a strange sound, like a beast's roar, echoes nearby. David rushes over to investigate, but terrifying figures are already emerging from the jungle. The villagers know exactly how dangerous these creatures are, and flee in terror, because humans aren't the only survivors on Earth after 800,000 years. A terrifying predatory species has also evolved through some unknown mutation. He scrambles to his feet and flees with the crowd. But then more monsters burst up from underground, cutting off their escape. With nowhere to run, the people are forced back into the jungle. The monsters toy with the villagers like prey. But here's the eerie part. They don't grab just anyone. Instead, dedicated scouts fire blow darts. These black darts carry no poison. They're more like tracking markers. Everyone who gets marked is tied up by stronger worker creatures and dragged into the quicksand. Then a horn sounds, and the hunting game abruptly, eerily ends. David can only watch helplessly as a monster drags Mara into the quicksand. Afterward, David furiously demands to know why the men of the tribe don't fight back. But the young tribal chief has grown numb to it all. He even sees it as the natural order, because these people are like livestock, harvested by the underground monsters every 7 days. They lost the courage to resist long ago. But David refuses to abandon Mara, the woman who saved his life. So after his relentless questioning, the tribal boy finally leads David to the ancient ruins, the library from the year 2030. He says the wise one inside will tell him the whole truth. And to David's surprise, this so-called wise one is an old friend from 800,000 years ago. Isn't this the library's AI assistant? And seeing David leaves the AI even more shocked, terrified even.
I even remember you. Time travel. Practical application.
Powered by nuclear energy, the AI has survived all 800,000 years. Through those endless ages, his emotional and cognitive modules seem to have evolved too, gaining a wisdom beyond any ordinary AI. He tells David that humanity has split into 2 branches. One is the tribal people on the surface. The other lives deep underground. Following the AI's directions, David quickly finds the entrance to the underground lair. He sends the boy to convince the tribal men to come as backup, while David carefully ventures into the lair alone. But what he discovers next is beyond belief. These seemingly savage underground creatures actually run a complete industrial system. The dark depths are filled with steel structures. Every one of them works methodically producing steel. Their civilization has clearly surpassed the surface tribes. David soon finds Mara's belongings in a corner. But when he looks up, he's horrified to see processing tools hanging everywhere. In his panic, David accidentally hits some kind of switch. A wave of rotting stench floods his nose. David is horrified by what he sees. Down below, it's nothing but human remains. Panicking, David tries to escape this dreadful place, but the next second... Strangely though, the creatures don't make a meal of him. Instead, they lock David in a chamber. Following the stairs, he finds Mara locked in a cage, but she seems to have lost her very soul, staring blankly into space.
Come a little closer. I don't bite. Do I surprise you?
Before him sits a pale-skinned man who seems to have been waiting for David all along. He gets straight to the point. He is the leader of the underground dwellers. Then, unprompted, he reveals to David the buried truths of human civilization in the 800,000 years since the moon shattered. Humanity gradually split into two lineages. Some stayed on the surface, while others lived on underground. Those underground, shaped by darkness and brutal competition, evolved over thousands upon thousands of generations. Their senses and intelligence transformed completely, splitting into three castes. The strong ones who hunt on the surface are the hunters. The ones running industry below are the workers. And he is the brain, the leader. When each brain dies, its knowledge passes on to the next, accumulated over the ages. The leader has even evolved the power to control human minds. He keeps the tribal people from ever thinking of rebellion, making them willingly live as livestock, a food supply for his underground kind. These horrifying revelations shatter David's entire worldview.
This is a perversion of every natural law.
And what is time travel? But your pathetic attempt to control the world around you. Your futile effort to have a question answered. You think I don't know you, Alexander? I can look inside your memories.
This is survival of the fittest. This is what evolution has made of civilization. Then, under the leader's mind control, David sees his laboratory from 1895. He sees the unfinished blueprints of the time machine. He sees his girlfriend alive again, with their lovely children. He slowly sets down the blueprints and walks toward this beautiful, blissful vision.
You built your time machine because of Emma's death. She had lived, but never have existed. So how could you use your machine to go back to save her? You are the inescapable result of your tragedy, just as I am the inescapable.
The leader's words completely shattered David's resolve, because this is the classic time paradox. Everything David did to save his girlfriend was doomed from the start. He's only been lying to himself all along. Then the leader actually returns the time machine to David, because he and David are the same, just pitiful souls defeated by fate. David sits numbly in the time machine. Then suddenly he yanks the leader inside with him, determined to take him away from this era. Because he's had a revelation. If the past cannot be undone, then he'll change humanity's tragic future instead. But David is no match for the leader. A hand clamps around his throat, forcing his head toward the rapidly spinning gears. In desperation, David smashes the machine's pressure gauge. A blast of heat erupts at the leader, leaving his body dangling in midair. David slams the machine into full throttle. In an instant, the leader, caught outside the light field, begins to decay. In just a few seconds, the leader is reduced to dust. David steers the machine back and rescues Mara from her cage. Then he takes the pocket watch, the symbol of his obsession, and jams it into the machine's gears. As the time machine erupts in blinding light, the two race for the exit, and with the leader gone, the arriving tribesmen break free from his mind control. Their courage returns. They arrive just in time and pull the two out of the cave. Meanwhile, the malfunctioning time machine finally pushes past its limit. In an instant, the massive energy blast vaporizes every underground creature nearby. The entire underground lair is completely destroyed. At last, the people of the surface break free from their enslavement. David decides to stay in this era. Together with the library's AI assistant, he passes knowledge on to the tribal people. And under their guidance, the flame of human civilization will burn bright on this land once again. It's obsession that lets David surpass every genius of his era and touch the very laws of time. And it's obsession that turns him, through his endless pursuit, into a ghost drifting through the river of time. As the greatest scientist of his age, he surely recognized the time paradox long ago, but his obsession ran too deep. So deep he dared to use the laws of time, to challenge the authority of fate itself. It takes the pale man's brutal honesty for him to finally accept that the past cannot be changed. In the end, he chooses to fight for Mara and for the future. Honestly, by today's scientific standards, any time travel movie is bound to have serious scientific flaws. If we pick this film apart with pure cold logic, it probably falls apart everywhere. The genre itself guarantees that the logic will never be airtight. So after watching, you're bound to have your own thoughts and theories, and I'd love to hear them all. So drop your takes in the comments below.